Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday in Lubbock, Texas, here on 100.7 The Score, 100.7thescore.com. A Hax, Collier, and Lucas edition of the program as we begin to forge consistency here, building the foundation of the EOB here from the First United Bank Studios. It is cold, foggy, a little misty, and don't underestimate that chill today. You might take the bigger jacket. It takes a lot for me to get the bigger jacket out. I didn't today even, but it's a little extra chill today.
Yeah, no, I noticed it this morning when taking the dog out, but yesterday I got kind of toasty in the studio, so I went with the lighter jacket. I needed the bigger jacket on the trip here, but I think I'll be safe in here. But yeah, you a big fog fan? Do you like the fog? I actually prepared and got here a little early because I was afraid, maybe there was something on the road as well, given the fact that it was as cold as it was.
I needed to take a little extra time because I barely made it, but I'm okay with it as long as the thing that I think about is just all the people traveling, because you can't fly in right now to Lubbock. I wouldn't believe so. So I'm fine with it, but if I happen to have a plane involved like tomorrow, I would be a fog enemy.
Yes, that's understandable. I don't mind driving it unless it's really dense and you can't see anything. That's pretty scary. Yeah. Especially when we're on a highway and going whatever, 80 miles an hour, 75. You shouldn't, but sometimes you're in a situation where if you're going really slow and somebody can't see you, they're going to hit you in the backside. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going 75, 80 miles an hour, but there have been situations where you're afraid to go too slow because somebody might not get up on you as quick as they expect, and you're in trouble.
Well, it is let's see, had game day last night, got game day coming up Saturday. We had doubleheader Saturday. Last night did not go well. It was I don't know if it was shocking, but I think the fact that Texas Tech smacked Texas at home last year kind of gave everybody the sense that, yeah, that's going to happen again this year. But I was kind of blown away by Texas personnel, just their athleticism, their length, their height, their
size,
size.
Yeah, they were a bigger basketball team,
bigger without being stiffs.
Yes, bigger, stronger. You mentioned the athleticism. I think is a huge part of it. You've got a big Madison Booker. I was talking to Chuck as he walked out. She's basically the point now with Rory Harmon out with her ACL injury, and she's not a point. You know what I'm saying? She's a long, athletic, a problem if you're a guard for the Lady Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost felt like a point forward type situation with her. And then I was also, kind of impressed because, at 98% of the basketball that I watch is Division I men's. That includes the NBA. If you were to take the WNBA, the Division I women's college basketball, and the NBA, that would make up 2% of my viewing.
Yeah,
98%'s D1 men's.
Yeah,
that's what I do. It's what I call. If I were to, and I did for 11 years, I called Division I women's basketball. So I've seen my fair share. The thing that stood out to me a little bit last night with Texas was mid-range game. They actually played mid-range.
Yeah,
they were shooting 15-footers. It's like, man, nobody does that anymore. But they were doing it probably because Tech was trying so hard to defend the perimeter and the interior.
Yeah.
There were some spots open around the elbows, and they jumped in and hit those.
Yeah, and if they didn't, they were getting offensive rebounds. Yeah, that was a huge problem. The stat that stuck out to me right before I went to the set last night was in the first 5 minutes of the basketball game, they had 6 offensive rebounds and 9 second chance points in the first 5 minutes of the game. And that's been a problem for the Lady Raiders, and I think Krista Gerlich would say this, and I know she has it in several post games that I've been to. They've gotten off to slow starts against not as good teams, and they're able to, outwork them and eventually, dominate a smaller basketball team. And, you see the weaknesses.
That doesn't have the depth. That doesn't have the athleticism.
And that's not something that you're going to be able to do whenever you're playing. Let's be honest. It's a top 10 team that only had one loss going into this game. Part of the reason they had that loss was they were playing the now number 6 team in the country, Baylor, which you'll have to deal with soon.
You'll have to decide if you want to bring out your jump to conclusions, Matt.
Right.
What's that from?
Oh, it's from Off of Space.
Yeah. God, it's nice to have somebody that knows what they're talking about pop culture-wise.
Well,
love your choice. Do you want to bring out your jump to conclusions, Matt, and say these ladies aren't any good or not? I don't know. Well, let's see some more games in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I do know that, like on the men's side, the women's side is extremely tough. Got a little breaking news here from the Rangers. Josh Young, Jungle Cat bobblehead will be on Monday, May 13th, 7:05 against Cleveland.
Get your tickets now.
Lurking on the infield of Globe Life Field is the rarest of wildcats. Join the Clouder of Jungle Cats now by purchasing your theme night ticket through this offer. Curiosity got the cat. Don't let it get you too. Josh Young bobblehead, May 13th, 7:05.
Now I'm trying to find the... Did you ever see, I've texted this to Clint, did you ever see David Ortiz whenever he tried to say Jungle Cat?
Was it Youngle?
It was Trungle Car. Trungle Car. I have the drop. I sent it to him. It was just, it's amazing how that thing, when you win a World Series and you probably should have been Rookie of the Year, you get a
Trungle Car.
Trungle Car.
That is amazing because I really picture Josh as a baseball robot and maybe just a regular robot. It doesn't have to be baseball. So when he got hurt with catching the ball, I was like, that's impossible. He's like a baseball Drago almost with Josh without being
the bad guy. The Russian bad guy.
He's definitely the good guy. Yeah. What a story. I mean, I wonder if the first swings that he made, not last year but the year before, will go overlooked a little bit, because when his technical rookie campaign comes up, they win a World Series. But I'll never forget his first at bat, which goes to deep left field. Yeah. He hits it out, and Dad goes crazy. What a moment! That is a heart thumping moment right there. We'll tell you what you need to know coming up here on 100.7 The Score.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Hey, coming up tonight, our first ever Red Raider basketball with Grant McCaslin. That is coming up in just a few hours. 6 o'clock on Double T 97.3. We'll be down at Rudy's, South Loop, and Slide. Got to make sure all that equipment works. That's what I got to do today. Got to go retrieve and make sure all of it works. Lady Raiders lose last night big to Texas. Red Raider basketball will travel tomorrow down to the state capitol and take on Texas on Saturday night at the Moody Center. Oklahoma State was the only game in Big 12 action last night, and they handled Chicago State 72-53. Chicago State's one of the worst Division I programs, period.
Yeah.
And they were so bad, they got kicked out of the Mid-Continent League back in the 2000s, close to two teens. Yeah, they got ran out of that league. It was unbelievable how bad they were. They did almost make it to an NCAA tournament once, though. In 2007, I believe, 2006, they made it to the championship of the Mid-Con. So, Chicago State, not any good. That's the bottom line here. Memphis, Tulsa, Pepperdine, Gonzaga. Arizona, Colorado, one to watch tonight. battle of two future Big 12 teams. Colorado's 11-2, and Arizona is 10-3. Arizona is 10-3, and they are the one with the ranking at 10, even though Colorado is a little bit better with their record 11-2. Also, a battle of future Big 12 teams, Utah and Arizona State. Arizona State's not nearly as good. Utah's 11-2. That comes up late. If you want to watch some late night hoops and get a picture of what the conference might look like in the future, 10 o'clock is when that thing will get started.
Are you a fan of these late things? Because that's my concern as we move forward. And I'm excited about all of these teams, new teams, and new blood in the conference and everything. But as I get older, and I stay up late.
Me too.
But
night owl.
Yeah, exactly. But it's different when you're sitting and watching at home as opposed to you're working it. And you've got a football game that's kicking off at 8. Think about how late a Colorado football game with Deion Sanders is going to be on a regular basis, assuming he's there 2 years from now. But I'm not necessarily. I'm looking forward to some of the matchups, playing Utah and stuff like that. Not looking forward to a lot of late night kickoffs because, whether it's lazy scheduling or whatever, it's easier to put the teams that are located in the West together later at night. And last time I checked, Tech's now one of those.
Think of the emotions we went through when we thought we were taking OU, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State to the Pac-12.
Never wanted to do that, by the way.
Well,
and even including nothing to do with my connection to one of the schools. Never wanted to be a Pac-12 ever.
They almost had me fooled on it because I thought that was going to be the best option in a world of crumbling conferences, because that's when the Big 12 was really on the ropes. You remember the Big 12 had really no pulse at that point because of all the rumors. I mean, they were preparing in the Kansas City Star to write the obituary for Kansas and Kansas State that day. So instead of what we currently have in Oregon State and Washington State having to link arms with the Mountain West to survive, that's where they've gotten to, which is still a little bit hard to believe. That was going to be Kansas State, although I think Kansas would have probably found its way to the Big East.
Yeah, Kansas on
Big Ten. And then that puts Kansas State on an island, and then they would definitely be in the Mountain West. So we went through all that, and then we went through the OU and Texas rumors that quickly turned into solidified. They're going to the SEC. Okay, that's going to destroy the Big 12. Remember, I mean, that's...
Oh, no, it was panic mode.
It was panic.
Yeah.
It was pure panic. It even went to studies being done on how detrimental it was going to be for Texas specifically to leave the conference, OU obviously too. But remember, there were economic studies done.
Oh, yeah.
There were press conferences about, hey, this is really going to hurt. This is really going to sting. And then so we went through that. And then, Brett Yormark, I guess, would be number one you would look at coming in to alleviate those concerns, go on the attack, bring in Cincinnati and company. Now you got the other 4 Pac-12 schools coming on. It's been a roller coaster of emotions over the last 20 years for sure. 15, how about 15 years? Because when did the movement towards the Pac-12 look like it was going to be a thing with the 4 schools, with Tech, OSU, and Texas and OU?
Man, how many years ago was that? We've been talking about this forever. It's so funny. Like you go back when you didn't have a radio show and you have buddies in your text threads from probably about 15 years ago, and we're all like sitting there mapping out what these power conferences are going to look like years from now. And when was that? Was it probably was around the time that I guess A&M left for the SEC. I mean, you're thinking, hey, this thing's kind of crumbling a little bit. It had to be long after that.
At that point, you'd had several legs swept. You'd had Colorado go to the Pac-12. You had Missouri go to the SEC. You had A&M go to the SEC. You had Nebraska go to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So you were on the ropes. Prosecutors in Kansas yesterday dismissed 3 felony charges related to accusations that Jackson Mahomes grabbed a woman by the neck and kissed her against her will. He appeared at a hearing yesterday, he being Jackson, and the felony charges were dropped. A 4th charge of misdemeanor battery remains, and Mahomes pleaded not guilty to that charge. On and on and on with legalese there. Tyreek Hill and his family are safe after his home caught fire. Did you see the helicopter shot of Tyreek standing out in the street and with his walking boot?
I did not.
Again, I'm watching Ballers, man. There's a lot of truth to that show.
Yes.
But evidently they're okay. There are 9 Alabama players in the transfer portal. Doubt that will hurt them, but there are 9 there. Give us your thoughts, comments, and whatever you got at the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Would love to hear from you there as we take you through all the way till noon o'clock today. We'll hand you off to the bottom line. So Horns get the best players because they have the most NIL. They got a little emoji there with a cash bag. So is it true Texas, thanks to Governor Sol Ross making them a land-grant university and all the money that entails, are they the richest university? If yes, they will always get the best players. I'm not sure on the history of all of that and being a land-grant university. I guess they're tying that into the Puff Fund.
Yeah.
Which took me forever just to even know there was a Puff Fund. I didn't know that till like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and before anybody calls you out on the chat line, it's just the Puff because the F is fund. So you're being
fun.
The Puff.
Oh, come on now.
I know. I'm just giving you.
Irregardless, I don't care.
Well, yeah, they're always going to have the money. I mean, they're always going to get the players, but what are they going to do with it? You know, I mean, I know you're always going to have that uphill battle with them, but again, Vince Young was a long time ago, right? How many banners have they hung in the Irwin Center before they blessed the mood? How many basketball national titles do they win?
The mood.
So they've got an inherited advantage. It's not going away, but at the same time, they're not doing as much with what they've got.
Yeah, I always drive through there and, of course, spend a ton of time there and about to spend some more time there. And I'm wondering, how in the world could you put this thing in the ditch? And for so long, it was in the ditch. Now, they made it back to they won a Big 12 championship this year. And, Sark and those guys are to be commended. Getting to the college football playoff. But for so many times, you have, it's hard to rip on their baseball program. They've been so good.
Yeah, I was about to say baseball program.
There were a couple of years where they just weren't any good, but overall they've been really good. But men's basketball, ditch. Football, ditch. With all the resources in the world, more money than God, how could you put it in the ditch? They found ways. There's a lot on the chat line. We're going to get to that next, I promise. As you guys are lighting it up early this morning, lighting us up through the fog. More coming up here on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's the EOB here on 100.7 The Score, 100.7thescore.com. Keep them coming to the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'd love to hear from you today. Really any day. Collier, do you have any new Ron Roberts stories since you were last on these airwaves?
No, not that come to the top of my head. I mean, it's an everyday thing with Ron. It's always something. I'll just leave it at that.
I hear he and I are the only ones in Lubbock County with Android phones.
Yes, he does have an Android phone and a really bad fantasy football team. No, Ron's Ron. It's the same guy. He's always going to be the same guy. Little loopy. Knows what he's talking about weather-wise, whether you want to believe it or not. But can get off the rails pretty quick. I'm getting destroyed on the chat line, by the way.
That's me too.
I apologize for not listing the one show 2 weeks ago where you guys did the running backs. I've come up with I think maybe an amicable idea here that people on the chat line would agree with. Anytime I start talking about another state that nobody on the chat line likes, maybe we get the guy that did the Raider power chant or Go Raiders chant. You remember that from the OU game several years back in the tunnel?
Oh yeah,
that guy. Maybe we have Lucas. Raider! Maybe we just have that guy screaming at the top of his lungs anytime I start talking about Oklahoma. It's like a siren to shut up about Oklahoma. So if you like that as an idea, maybe we can get Lucas to find that. And
we can find that audio. Who was talking?
J.D. Runnels.
Was that after a loss?
Yeah. Yeah.
Had to have been an early start because there was still sunshine. I remember that clip.
Was it? I don't know if it was the cotton picking. We're going picking cotton bowl game. It might have been before that. Landry Jones lost here with Ryan Broyles being an absolute idiot, absolutely getting destroyed, and then he scores a touchdown. And he like celebrates it, and I'm like, dude, you're getting rolled right now, and you're celebrating a touchdown. Get on back.
Raider!
Yeah, there you go. I'm telling you, not going to make anybody mad here in that drop.
Man. Hard to predate you, David Collier. That's from Bullfighter.
Boss Hog with a birthday too, apparently.
Don't want to sleep outside, but would love to have that buzz around the football team again. Just something about having a winning team. Everyone seems so much happier everywhere you go around town. That is true. There's just like when you go to the bar, there's different kinds of buzzes. You remember the buzz around Beard's return?
Yeah, I know Texas certainly does, and that whole bus fiasco and all that jazz. Yeah, no, that
was a buzz of blood.
Yes, it was a different type of deal. It was
right.
It was
like I would imagine the parking lot with your RV and the beer pong leading up to that was probably pretty jovial.
Oh, it was a great time. It was much different than next year because they tried to recreate it over on campus in a different location. It just did not. Just that it was amazing. People would come there because people were staying in their tents and they were lined up. And this was before they built up the east side the way it is now, so there was a little more room. But it was a party every single night, Monday all the way up. When it was Halloween night, that place was absolutely nuts. Those kids made the most of that time, and I don't think you can replicate that the way that whole week went down.
So just I didn't get a chance to partake day of game, but Norrance and those guys certainly did. Tariq did, and they had the beer trucks, and they had free beer for a certain amount of time. I mean, just that entire block plus was just hopping, and that was just day of game. Of course, the night before, Texas trying to get into the arena. They park at the regular spot, which is the west door. That thing is jammed with students, and they could barely get in the door. So then we're like, okay, we're going to take the concert way, which is the concrete ramp down into the bowels of the arena. They could barely drive the bus through there. It was just a buzz of again, wailing and gnashing of teeth. I have one example that I can give you as far as how important and looked upon that game was. We do the behind the mic. And I'd say it just depends. But when you first turn on behind the mic, it probably jumps to 50 every time. 50, you can see the counter, how many people are watching you.
Yeah.
So I would say when we do it this Saturday at Texas and I hit go live, it'll jump immediately to 50. And then it'll fluctuate. Sometimes it'll go up, sometimes it'll go down. I'll never forget this. I hit go live and it jumped to 899, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for a behind the mic feature, with a tripod looking at me in level. For that to go to $899, I was like, wow, people are invested, which we already knew. But it's never done anything like that before is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, it was like pitchforks and torches. I mean, it was. I don't want to say scary, but
it was a little scary.
Yeah, I would not have wanted to be on that bus. It was a different scary. Whenever I remember one of our reporters the night of the national champ, or actually the semifinal when they
won,
they
burned it,
where they were burning stuff, and she was engulfed by students off of University. That was a different type of scary. But yeah, no, I'm glad I wasn't outside. We had people there, obviously, but yeah, it was another one of those things that's not going to happen again. And you certainly hope not anyway, right? Not to that extent.
Unbelievable. Lucas, you got any questions for us today?
2 minutes of nonstop in-your-face inquiries with no end in sight. It's time now for Burning Questions.
You have to call one person in your contacts, but if they don't answer the phone, you get $1 million. Who are you calling that you know will not pick up the phone so you can get that $1 million?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Does anybody leap into your mind first?
Person that...
Oh, yeah. Chad McKee.
Your buddy Chad McKee?
Chad McKee's not answering the phone, ever.
One of your best friends ever.
Mm-hmm.
A blast from the past here in Lubbock, Texas. Vinny Vanzetta used to work at Fox 34 and KCBD. Good friend, works in San Antonio now. He'll call me all the time. I try to answer his, but inevitably, anytime I call him, now he'll call me back.
But he's not going to answer.
He's not going to answer. Another person, whenever I called Mike Leach, obviously I get now. Whenever I called him, never answered the phone. Would always call back. Never. I would have been a millionaire easy with Mike. Wouldn't have been a problem.
Great question.
What is a current thing that future generations will say, I can't believe they used to do that?
Facebook.
Future generations? Yeah, Facebook's a good one. Look at you. Still in the...
It all goes that way. That's the way the world works. Twitter will be the same.
To an extent, television, watching television, period. People will be like, why do you have that big thing on your wall? I mean, I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And one of them has started to use the TV a little bit more thanks to Christmas video games. Mm-hmm. But those things just sat there in their rooms. Like, there's no reason for a television. My daughter's little living area in their dorm suite.
No TV.
Nothing. Absolutely. There's a couch in there, little end tables, not a television anywhere.
They would consider you for a prison sentence at one point if you didn't have a TV. Like, we need to check this guy out.
Yeah.
This he doesn't have a television.
You can get away without it. Not saying that. We got a new one for Christmas for one of the kids just because we're like, if you're going to play that video game,
play it on a screen.
Yeah. Let's have a screen, bud. I got to see whenever I'm beating you on Madden, which is happening a lot lately.
Oh, I don't even touch the Madden. Really anything with Perry. He's gaming it up right now. Making Dad look bad. Unless it's FIFA. I can do FIFA. Which, yes, nerd out time there as well. All right, we'll come back and have more. Got some more questions on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We're taking you all the way up until noon here on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
That's right. We'll take your questions all the way up until close to the top of the hour. We have 10 more minutes left here on the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score. Go to the app and please get us your questions through that app. Presented by Happy State Bank, a Hax, Collier, and Lucas edition of the program. I want to acknowledge this right here on the chat line. I also think Kevin had inside knowledge with regards to Adams. You may be correct, but really all we were talking about, all that we were referencing in the previous segment was his relationship and his situation at KU. This had nothing to do with the Texas Tech time that he spent here. It was just talking about why he would stick around, why he's still there, and not why he left Tech.
Yeah, no, it was more of you stay there as long as possible because, like you said, you're getting paid. And I think we kind of discussed this off air. Is almost like this is the peak for a lot of these guys, and they're taking advantage of it now because we know the numbers of people that end up being professionals, and if you can give yourself a little bit of a nest egg or whatever you want, a little bit of fallback money as you begin whatever your new career is after playing high or college athletics. I don't blame any of these guys for
not at all
lining the
not
pockets.
at all, man. I do the same thing. I love college. Best 17 years of your life. No, I mean, best 5 years of my life. I know that. Well, 3 of them. That college baseball deal didn't quite work out. This is all going down, and again, different stories and different angles. But the thing that I wanted to say about, like, say you come at me and say, no, McCullers going to play in the NBA. My argument would be Jarrett Culver, Matt Mooney, Zaire Smith, Adonis Arms. Give me some other ones. Well, the guys that have transferred out. Still,
I was about to say, I think you've given us enough right there.
Namari Burnett, probably no. Vlad, maybe. Vlad might be your best chance to get it done. But for me, what I look at with McCullough is Germany.
Yeah. He's going to do what a lot of former Texas Tech, like Daryl Dora. Daryl spent a long time playing overseas.
Made a lot of money, too.
Made a lot of money. Yeah, no, it's a good living. It's just not the ideal living. And if you can get that in college and, you're able to begin the rest of your life a little bit sooner, then that's the way to go. I don't think Kevin's going to be drafted either. I think you listed off plenty of reasons why there. But, yeah, make your money while you can.
Love Taj, but if we could get a guy like Judkins, I would say we should do it in a heartbeat. Yeah, you'd fall all over yourself to get that.
Well, I saw a tweet. I mean, he's the first guy with 15-plus touchdowns in back-to-back years since Herschel Walker.
Holy cow.
In the SEC, rather. But, yes, I think you would say 100% come on down.
And that won't happen.
No.
The text says, a guy like. And so, yeah, I understand. Somebody soon is going to opt out of the playoff. Would not be surprised to see it happen next year. And I do think there will be some transfer portal losses on playoff teams next season. Well, Geoff, if you get to that point, I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, I mean, you have plenty more opportunities for that to happen, though, with 12 teams. I mean, right? It's a little different when you have 4 teams in the equation. You triple that, then odds are some of those guys, which will stink if you're like, hey, we're going up against Georgia in the first round. I'm a top 10 projected pick. I don't want anything to do with that. One, to hurt my draft status when I'm playing NFL caliber offensive lineman, defense, whatever the case may be. Yeah, I could potentially see it, and that's just going to add to the frustration and the long laundry list of things that aggravate you about the way college football is now compared to, I guess, the good old days where you didn't know all this stuff was happening.
On the chat line, this says TJ Shannon, yikes. Yeah, okay, good point here. If TJ gets what he's going through cleared up, he will be a guy that is in the NBA. He is an NBA talent, no doubt, in my mind. Am I saying he's an all-star? No. Am I saying he's maybe an all-star for the penitentiary? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that will hash out, but thank you for bringing up that name. That's one that I should have brought up as far as former players, but also knowing what TJ's going through.
Yeah.
Benchwarmers, top bucket list vacation and top sports bucket list venue and or event. Go with vacation first.
Vacation. Well, I've never been to Hawaii. I've lived in Japan, lived on beaches as a small child. I would love to spend some time on a beach somewhere where we're not holding these cell phones and just avoid any type of sharks or anything like that, but I would like to get in the water. When we went to Miami for the Texas Tech baseball's first regional, not quite Hawaii, but I went every single morning to the beach just to clear my head. So give me a place like that where I don't have a cell phone, television. Yeah, I want it to be warm as well.
Is your bucket list having armrests on these chairs?
That, yes. I don't know what to do with my arms. I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands or my arms. Every day so far, I'm reaching here to...
You'll get used to it.
Yeah.
It only takes about a month.
Elbows are hurting. Are they bruised or something from putting on the counter?
Sports bucket list?
Sports bucket list? I think I would like to go to the Masters and watch golf. I think. But then again, I'm not a big, large group of people person, and having to sift through people that aren't following the flow of traffic type thing. But I would like to go there. Just to maybe even just a practice round or the par 3 or something like that. But I would like to go to Augusta National.
Augusta for me, and I think I'm going Fiji. Give me Fiji for the vacation spot.
I wouldn't know much about the whole vacation thing, though. Television doesn't lend it to doing much in the vacation.
Last time I went on a vacation with just my wife was 2013. And I'm talking about anything.
Yeah. Our vacations consisted of travel, softball, go check out a Rangers game. Which is all fun. Trust me, it's a completely different life, but we're not going to hang out on the beach.
Ask the Benchwarmers, does a close loss at Texas still signal good things to come if it happens? All right, let's get rid of that mindset. I'm still of the mindset of going down there and winning. How do you do? What do you finish? Dead last? I don't know. I was too busy winning. But yeah, I mean, if it's a close loss, it could be a good sign, but what is it? Did we see a line that was just 3?
Yeah. Texas -3.
Man, when my son asked me, I said, I bet it will be 6. But 3, man, that's a coin flip. Benchwarmers, your bowling league has $1 million prize. You need a partner. You either got to pick a co-host from Raymar or a Uriday listener. Who are you picking?
Well, I don't know anybody's bowling skills in here. I would think just looking at I would say Choice probably thinks he's the best at bowling. I think you probably would be pretty solid at bowling. I don't think Clint would be because he's so high up and he has to get down low. He's better than you think. Really?
He's better than you think.
I think height would be a disadvantage.
Choice got me last time. We're about 50-50. We're close. A big, again, coin flip. But, of course, I'm picking bullfighter. You roll balls all day long and all night long and participate in contests and can throw up in the 200s. So, yeah, I'm throwing my money down with bullfighter. No way Justin's leaving Ole Miss for anybody but a natty contender. I was in Hawaii last week. Would highly recommend Oahu North Shore. That's from Tyler. I may be on an island with this, but I'm so sad it's not working for Culver in the NBA. For some reason, he always looked like Jordan to me the way he drove the basket and the physicality. It is just really hard to do it. I mean, it's just, again, very few places, very few spots, and they're the best of the best of the best. And he's close to that. He's played a lot in the league, but it's hard for him to stick.
And do it consistently. Yeah. And the situations, too. I mean, not blaming situations, but Timberwolves probably weren't.
Disaster.
Yeah, it was a disaster, all of it, and it didn't help. Didn't really seem like he had plenty of people around him that did belong in the Anthony Edwards. I mean, you're not taking away from a guy like that.
I agree totally on the transfer portal, but disagree on opting out. I feel like NFL teams would tank the guy for not being competitive, too selfish, not saying he'd go undrafted, but none would give him the benefit of a doubt over a comparable player. They're taking the best that they can find if they sat or not, unfortunately, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these guys sit. This has been the End of the Bench. Thanks so much for listening. For David Lucas, I'm Hax. Bottom line next.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.